Well, hello, fellow citizens of Fairfield. This is Bob Ferguson. I'm coming today in my capacity as a candidate for City Council. And I think it's important for you to understand what I value. Those of you who follow me on social media or on my email list are pretty sure you know quite a lot about that. But I want to provide some details. And I also want to talk about a very, very special and exciting thing that Fairfield is involved with now with Intelligent Community Forum. And so I have my friend and colleague, Robert Bell, who is one of the co-founders of Intelligent Community Forum, here to talk about Fairfield's actually becoming inducted into Intelligent Community Forum as a member and what benefits does that confer to us as a city. So Robert, thank you so much for being here with me.
Well, it's a great pleasure, as always, to talk to just about anybody from Fairfield.
Yes, well, you have talked to us quite a few times, so this is great. So people are, I think, familiar, most people are familiar with the Intelligent Community Forum competition, where we were made the Smart 21, the cut top, first cut, and then this year we made the second cut in top seven. And then we'll be going to Vietnam and seeing, how we do there. And we'll have our reviewer, Doug McCullough from Columbus, rockstar economic developer, IT guy, coming to be our reviewer on October 8th and 9th. But what we did, in addition to all of this, is actually become a member of Intelligent Community Forum. And I understand that involves an initial assessment that's specifically for us that we can benchmark. So tell us about that and why should we be excited? Why should all the people who are watching this thing be excited about Fairfield being a member of Intelligent Community Forum?
Well, it starts with the fact that Fairfield is a very unusual place. We're thrilled to have the community as a member, as one of our honorees, if you will, because it's 10,000 people. It's a community in the middle of the farm belt, and yet, those two things really don't tell you very much about Fairfield. So we love to show different examples of the same thing. Our whole approach has been to study the best practices of some 200 different places around the world in economic development, in community development, taking place in this really bizarre, hyper-connected, crazy, always changing digital economy that we all are living in, whether we like it or not. And so the rules are not the same as the rules that I grew up with. They're not the same as the rules that Bob grew up with. And yet the places that are going to succeed, regardless of their size or their wealth, are the places that figure out how to compete, how to advance, and how to take care of their community at the same time in this crazy new economy of ours. So that's really why we started the Intelligent Community Forum more than 20 years ago, and it's what we still do today. So the reason to go back to what I said, the reason I'm thrilled that Fairfield is involved is that we believe passionately, and places like Fairfield prove that the same things that work for a very large city in the middle of an urban zone work for a very small place in the middle of a rural zone. It's the same basic principles. And Fairfield is a great example of doing that. So, Bob, what was your question again? I just launched off.
That's okay. No, that was a
Why should
beautiful
people be excited?
introduction.
Okay. So,
So, the question was, okay, now that we are a member of Intelligent Community Forum, what benefits do we get as a community? Why should we be excited about being actually a part of the organization rather than simply a contestant in a competition?
well, again, that does come down to that international reach that I was talking about and what makes, again, Fairfield unique. Most communities of your size would not even be thinking this way. But already Fairfield is thinking that it sells to, connects with, learns from, teaches the world. And so through ICF, it's funny, when we first started this, we got our biggest uptake from outside of the United States. And we still have more participation from outside than from inside the States because we still have this belief that the United States has got everything figured out, which I don't know why we think that anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
probably that is not something that people think about quite as much as we used to, right?
so, through membership, first of all, we're going to give you access to an assessment. And we already have a lot of data that you provided us for the award program. Well, now we're going to have the opportunity to feed that back to you and compare you with, again, hundreds of other places and say, here's where your strengths are, again, globally. Here's where your areas where you need to have some challenge. You've got some challenges. You need to, work on these things. And that's just a great, simple benchmark. I hate the word benchmark because it sounds like you have to pass a test, but it really, kind of, it's a fact-based thing, which
Right.
is always valuable in this world. But beyond that, for us, membership means that we can give you the attention you deserve, because we can afford to do so. So we have connections with cities, with counties all around the world, and quite a few of them are going to be of use to your community, whether it's places you can learn from, places you can teach, places you can find an export market in. One of the things we do is organize delegations to different cities around the world, to different events around the world. I think Bob has been at least on one of them, if I'm not mistaken. Um, that's an amazing experience to go and see how people do things in a completely different context, different culture, different language, and yet they're people. They're trying to accomplish the same things you are in Fairfield, and they're doing them in ways that you would never have thought of.
Well, it's so true. When I went to the Global Summit, when you asked me actually to speak about Fairfield, there was a city in Finland, Tampere, that's about 200, 250,000. So, they're quite a lot, they're a lot bigger than Fairfield. On the other hand, there were so many things that I learned about that. It was quite a fulsome sort of explanation. I think maybe half a day where we talked about that. And so that alone is tremendously valuable. And then I'm going to be going, and I trust that we'll have other people in our Fairfield delegation going to Vietnam. Well, I saw that little promo video about what's happening in Vietnam, and man, I remember Vietnam from 1968. Um, and
I just finished a book on the topic, so yeah.
it's a whole different ball of wax. So good. Well, in summary, you know, what what message would you have to give directly, and what would you like me to carry out in the community about how we can most effectively, as a community, engage with the assets that Intelligent Community Forum provides to us?
Well, here's a good example. In addition to this fairly unstructured, go out, learn, go out, find a market, go out, do those things, we also have structured content. So one of the things that we have produced is a set of online courses that are available free to your community now because you remember. And they basically walk you through, again, the lessons from multiple places about how you build or expand your broadband network, how you develop a workforce that can be prepared for the future. How do you encourage businesses to innovate in a strategic way? And another four or five different courses. Those are just every time the feedback I get from them, because I prepared them, so I always think they're great. But the feedback I get from them is that this is terrific stuff because it's some theory, it's some how do you do this, and then
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of case studies of places that did the work.
yeah.
Uh, and so that's something, again, that's an asset that's available. In general, I mean, the takeaway is we believe passionately that no place can afford to think that it's isolated, can
Right.
afford to think that it doesn't connect to the rest of the world's economy, that what happens in Europe or Asia doesn't matter to it. It's just, if you want one simple refutation of that, I'll just say soybeans. Okay, soybeans. There's a huge crop sitting waiting of soybeans that are not being shipped to China right now, right? And that affects farmers throughout the agricultural belt of our country. So being connected, being aware, and seizing the opportunities, right? Not just sitting waiting for the next bad thing to come to you from far away, but actually engaging with it and turning it to your advantage is
Right.
fundamentally what we want every place in the world to do, because it can all be done, and it can be done at any scale, from a big city to a small city or even a rural town.
Well, Robert, that is a beautiful note to end on. And this will not be our last conversation for sure that I share with our community, but I really appreciate your time today. And I'm so looking forward to showing off Fairfield when Doug McCullough comes on October 8th and 9th. And man, we got to keep that guy busy. It's going to be early morning to late at night.
Well, be
Uh,
kind, be kind, be kind.
yeah, yeah, no, no, it could be a rest time and everything, and good food, and a lot of good times. So,
I'll,
all
I'll,
right,
I'll I'll give you one mistake not to make. I was doing an audit of the city a number of years ago, and they kept me busy all day. And then they put me into this really trendy boutique hotel. They thought, oh, this will be, you'll love this, so forth. And I was in a room immediately above a bar that was open until 2 a.m. It just didn't go well.
fortunately, we don't even have those kinds of things in Fairfield. And I'm putting Doug up in my beautiful, elegant Airbnb downstairs. So he'll have almost 2,000 square feet to rattle around in. It'll be a presidential suite.
Okay. Well, he'll appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Robert.
Pleasure to talk with you.